So
they're not big Rabbi Rabs fans from the.
So it's good to see that maybe you've pulled back. Like you went as I don't know how you would say it.
Liberal.
Liberal, but I don't know if that's liberal's the right word here. It's not really liberal. It's you went off the path, if you will, as far as you could go, and being around them pushed you back into it. You pulled back. You said, "This is not how I want to be."
So the first pasuk in Devarim is, "These are the words which Moshe spoke to all of Israel." And it was only to the people of Israel that Moses spoke of their iniquities and failings. To God, Moses spoke only of the virtues of Israel and justified them no matter what they did. This is a Hasidic saying. Anyway, I'm thinking about, of course, as you are thinking right now, about Mexico's president, Felipe Calderon. That's just what you were thinking about when he came.
I never even heard of him.
And spoke to the U.S. Congress.
I never heard of him. I don't know anything.
When he criticized the law in Arizona about most of the Democrats, if not all the Democrats, got up and cheered. I think it's the first time a foreign leader comes on American soil, criticizes an American state for what they're doing, and one political party just goes, yeah, good for you for criticizing an American state. So I don't think Moshe would have done that.
Wait. So let me see if I got this straight. So I'm just trying to understand what's going on here. The president of Mexico doesn't like the Arizona law.
Right.
So basically what he wants is his citizens to be able to run out of his country at any time of the day or night and leave.
Yeah.
What's wrong with this picture, folks?
Yeah.
He wants his citizens should have the freedom to transgress, the next door neighbor's laws and just run at all hours of the night out of his country.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something sounds fishy there. Is it me, or is there something fishy there?
Here's something great from the Lubavitcher Rebbe.
Okay, go for it.
So, from Devarim, verses 6 and 7, God spoke to us at Horeb, Mount Sinai. You have long enough surrounded this mountain, turn away and take your journey. That's this is unbelievable, because the mountain we're talking about is Mount Sinai. Okay, seen in the most monumental event in human history, God's revelation of his wisdom and will to man in the Torah. Still God says, you've been hanging around this mountain long enough, move on. So in our lives we also have moments, days or years of revelation, times when we learn and grow and are enriched, like your 2 years in Israel. But the purpose must always be to move on, move away, carry the enlightenment and enrichment to someplace else, some corner of creation that awaits redemption. I like that.
Nice for it.
Because Mount Sinai, you think why would God, you think we just hang there, forever, because this is where God gave us the Torah. Why would we ever want to leave Mount Sinai? But God said, get going. Do you have any thoughts on Devarim?
Not really.
No,
I'm Howard Cosell. Everybody has to understand the arrangement here.
Yeah.
Okay, this is Frank Gifford, right?
Right.
If anybody's watched Monday Night Football from my generation, if you're young, you don't even know what I'm talking about. But this is the guy doing the play-by-play. This is his show, right?
Yeah.
And my job is just to come in and make trouble from time to time and go on a rant and offend everybody in the audience. That's my job. I'm Howard Cosell, right? And I come in and I tell you how it goes, right? And that's my job, right? Is to offend everybody, one week could say Shatura and then Chabad and the Zionists, and that's my job is just to create ratings, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's just supposed to do play. I'm not supposed to bring the material. I just comment on his stuff and try to get you guys all upset. So,
but you can bring it. You do have notes there.
Because I'm ready in case you have to.
Do you have anything there that you're
not about Devarim?
You're curious to share? What do you? Oh, okay. So I'll just keep going then, and you can do whatever. So the Or HaChaim, the medieval Jewish commentator, says that Devarim was not dictated by Hashem to Moses, but Moses chose his own words, and he was inspired by God. But the language, the style of Devarim is very different from the previous 4 books. This is Moses giving a talk, and he's giving over his perspective. It's in Moses speaking to the children of Israel. That's the whole thing. It's one long speech. It's very different from the previous 4 books.
Right. And then the other thing is, of course, it's Deuteronomy, and we talked about this before, which literally means second time around. Mm-hmm. So it's a repetition, if you will. Mm-hmm. In fact, it's often referred to as Mishnah Torah, which means a repetition of the Torah, right? somebody in the studio audience, somebody backstage got a little drama there. You know, this is a professional show. Okay, we're not supposed to have distractions like that. Okay, so what am I saying? What are you looking at?
Naomi's pretty upset by the law in Arizona.
Okay, so really? Am I going to lose her? Is she going to leave me? What did she say?
She says the law makes it legal for police in Arizona to detain your wife if you don't have my birth certificate on me to prove I was born here, because they don't have to accept IDs from other states. It doesn't matter. Keep going with your point.
Okay.
Who cares about illegal aliens in Arizona?
I don't know enough about it, okay?
She's not your lawfully Torah-married wife anyway.
I don't know enough about the issue.
Yeah, neither do I.
Okay, so I'm not getting involved.
Yeah, neither am I.
Right.
I'm above that. We study Torah. We don't worry about Goyish law.
Okay, so
we worry about Hashem's law.
What was I talking about anyways? I don't remember. I'm so distracted.
That's why you shouldn't look at the chat room. You should just lay
it to me.
You gotta. I will tell you if there's anything you need to pay attention to in the chat room. See, I can read it. I can read it from here. So if there's anything that you, the holy rabbi, need to pay attention to, I, your congregant, will bring it to you on a platter.
Okay, so
now you can just sit back.
I'm sitting back.
Just think about Hashem and his Torah and his mitzvahs and how evil the secular Jews are, and you just sit back and think about those lofty thoughts, and I will deal with the narishkeit of the chat room. I mean, probably half of them are goyim, and I will sit.
They might be, but here's one thing I want to say about them.
Yeah.
They're also interested in perhaps converting.
Ah.
But now it's a good time to digress and talk about the topics.
Yes.
There's a lot of people who follow me, right?
Yeah.
And who I would say are followers of me and pay attention to things I say and what I write.
Yeah.
They're non-Jews, and they are either interested in becoming Jewish, right? Or they're interested in learning more about what Judaism has to say, and they're perhaps interested in becoming a Ben Noah, and following the laws, right?
Yeah.
So I have an audience in that. So they might be some non-Jews out there, but they're interested, and I would rather them learning Judaism from me than from some outreach group that's going to water it down, sugarcoat it, pervert it into something that it's not, and present this palatable form of something called Judaism to them and go, here, have 2 scoops of that, because that's something you can digest. But then they never really know what Judaism is until it's too late.
And what is Judaism? There's no Judaism. There's just Yiddishkeit and Torah.
Torah, right?
Judaism, that's something Reform Jews talk about.
Well, I mean
we're adjusting to the way people talk.
Right.
But you and I, in our Kehillah, we don't talk about Judaism.
We talk about Torah.
Talk about Torah.
But I'm trying to make it in a way that they can understand.
We're trying to speak in a way that the Goyim can understand.
Right. So when you're talking, so I would rather talk to all the non-Jews. I don't need to talk to Jews, right?
Yeah.
I don't have no problem just talking to all non-Jews out there, because if you're thinking about converting, if you want to know what to do, what does Judaism say about non-Jews? Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
What does Judaism say? I grew up. I learned about Catholicism, right? I went to Catholic school, right? Or something like that. I've heard about Judaism. I think that there's some truth to it. Like, tell me about. I'd rather them learn it from me, as obnoxious and off-topic as I go, because at least I'm going to present it the way it needs to be presented. I'm going to not sugarcoat or water it down. I'm going to present full disclosure and give them the bare bones, blunt truth.
Yeah, and better than that guy from Tikkun magazine.
No, I don't want to say it. Okay, so
and also when you get it from Rabs and me, you're getting it from 2 very sane, mentally well-adjusted, happy.
Well, one.
They're happy-go-lucky, like people with love in our hearts and joy in our step, and people whose faces are on like billboards for mental health. So we don't want you getting it from people who are a bit shaky. So get it from us. You'll get the emes, which means truth for your goyim.
Okay, so now let's talk about topics.
Yeah.
Okay, what I did is some of you may know me from Facebook or from YouTube, and I pulled Playboy magazine. Maybe you see my face on the billboard of some mental health institution. So I polled the crowd, if you will. I surveyed the crowd. I said, hey, I'm taking topics, if you will. And what do you guys want to talk about? And I got a lot of feedback.